than practical. Way more than merely factual. If you wanna know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to girls behaving metaphysically. Listen to girls behaving metaphysically.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience. Join Robin Rice and Sumaya Wood for this week's adventure.
And let's have an adventure. Hello. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Woo! Cheers.
I'm Sumaya Wood.
And I'm Robin Rice.
And we are Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Yes.
With our weekly spiritual happy hour. And you know what?
What?
I am excited about today's topic because it is one that is near and dear to my heart.
Well, it's one that should be near and dear to all of our hearts, I think.
Did you just shit on everyone?
It's a should fest. I think it is near and dear to all of our hearts. We just don't always know it.
That is true. Yes. So what are we talking about, pray tell?
Today we are talking about your soul's purpose. Everybody's got soul is the topic. Everybody's got soul.
Rumor has it.
Rhythm, not so much, but soul they've got.
That's true. My mom had no rhythm. I can attest to that. But she had plenty of soul. So if you are joining us live, say hello in the chat. Let us know you're here and let us know where you're watching from. And if you are catching us on the replay, also say hello, but just type in #replay into the comments below and let us know that you caught the live. So who is our fantastic guest today, Robin?
Oh, our fantastic guest. I'm very excited about our fantastic guest. She is, well, let me start by saying Savanna Noelle is a speaker, a teacher, a spiritual counselor, and a coach. She's an ordained minister with a master's degree in consciousness studies. She's got lots of credits and things. I can tell you from personal experience that she's like a spiritual ninja. She just can get right in and permeate your heart and your soul. So she's been a guest speaker all over the world, in London and Vancouver and Cairo, and she loves to travel and be with people and explore and experience. And she leads retreats all over the world as well, and classes. And she's here with us today, live from Seattle, Washington.
Yay! Yay. And there she is. Hello, Savanna.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Happy hour. Cheers.
Cheers.
Although, you know what? I'm as I sometimes do, double fisting.
Tea and kombucha.
Tea and kombucha, exactly. And so, before we jump in, hello, we've got John here. Hello, John. I love when you're on. Gilly Gill, hello. He says, great to see you, Savanna. TC is here as well. And Dave is with her. Hello, TC and Dave. And TC also says, oh my God, hi.
Hey, TC.
Sorry, TC, that might have been a little too high-pitched for you. I apologize. I was trying to project the enthusiasm that I felt coming through.
It's a party. So
I know.
All right. So let's jump right in because I know the people want to know.
I know. So purpose. Sometimes I gotta tell you, sometimes, especially early on when I was starting my whole spiritual journey, the whole idea of purpose felt a little daunting. Mm-hmm. Like at the time, and I've evolved since, in the 25 plus years since, but at the time it was like, oh, it feels heavy and it feels like there's just one thing I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. And
And then it felt like a needle in a haystack. Like, how do I find that?
Yeah, like how do I find it? How do I get there? But when you really think and narrow it down, your passions are your purpose. What are you passionate about? What lights you up? What brings you life? For years, my mom would always say to me, I would get on stage, or I would actually early on, like go back childhood days, she would, I would be performing like in the living room or in the front yard, and I'd get her to come. You know, when you're little, you want to like perform and have the whole family come and watch, and she would come out. And I just remember her always saying, this is your purpose. This is what you're meant to do. And as a little one, you don't know what that really means, but she knew that it lit me up. And so when people ask this question, I'm like, your purpose can change, right? Like it can change all the time. It's just what is lighting me up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think what you just said is so important, because it's not necessarily one thing for the entirety of your life. And that was what I mistakenly assumed when I first started exploring it. That, oh my God, I've got to find this one thing. And it's how am I going to find this one thing that I'm supposed to do? And am I supposed to be making money from it? Is it supposed to be the thing that I do for work? I don't know. Maybe I was just like, loopy and overthinking it.
No, not you.
I know Robin's going to be shocked at that.
No, but don't you think, I think that people get confused between their purpose and their mission. I do. I speak for myself. I get confused. Like when I have to write a mission statement and a purpose statement, I'm like, what's the difference? And I always have to look at like corporations and things and see what they say and how they say it. And so is it that our mission really doesn't change, but our purpose can? Or is our mission always the same too? And I know that wasn't our topic for today. So we can ask that to the audience as well. But I mean, I'm thinking about it, wondering if that's true.
Yeah, I am kind of in a line with you, Robin. A purpose just feels like it's connected to a greater vision for life. Like, and the mission is maybe how to get there. Like, I don't know, the steps maybe.
I don't know. For me, I think like my mission is my mission is something like to inspire people to be who they really are through creativity. And so that doesn't change. It doesn't matter if I'm doing a class on car mechanics, or if I'm doing a musical interpretation of, the Bible, whatever. It doesn't matter.
I want to sign up for both of those.
Don't say that, because I'll go right into creating curriculum right after. But you know what I mean? Like, so my mission is to inspire and to, find the joy in things. So I think that I try to do that in everything I do. Like if I'm not having a good time, it's not what I should be doing. That's my mission. But how I do it is more my purpose. I don't know.
To me, like I hear that and I'm like, it sounds the same.
In some ways.
That sounds like it would be your purpose too. I don't know. John, TC, Gil, what do you guys think?
We called an expert. Now we're phoning friends. Come on.
Yes. But
I don't know. So anyway, it's a good point of inquiry. I don't know. So, but go on about purpose, because that's why we're here. And what's, I think it's important how we get to that place of finding out what is our purpose and what keeps us from getting there, or have we gotten there, or what can we do to enhance that connection?
So how do you define purpose, Savanna?
Oh gosh, that's loaded, heavy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I think that it has to do with it's the thing that it's a calling. It's something deeper. That's why when we talk about purpose, I often attach the word soul, because I feel like it's a journey. It's not linear. It's the soul wanting to expand and to grow and to evolve. And when we attach soul with purpose, for me, it feels like it's a deeper knowing. It's an inner calling that's pulling us forward. So rather than me having a goal or a task before me, a purpose is like attached to a vision and the soul. It's something that is pulling me forward, something greater. Yeah. So if I were to say that in 10 words, I don't think I could do it. Because it's deeper. But what I also love about talking about purpose, especially with students, is when people start to tap in and go inward and be like, okay, what am I really good at? What do I really love to do? What do I get excited about? I know for me, when I talk about metaphysics, which is not everyone's favorite topic, but when I talk about spirituality or metaphysics or spiritual growth, or relationships, I light up. And so I know, I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this. For some people, that might be you are an incredible parent and your purpose is to parent. Your purpose might be you're an incredible gardener. You know, like Robin said, you're a great car mechanic. But then it might shift and change over time. It's just that for a lot of us, I think we might know what we're good at, but there's something stopping us from doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to read you, because I've actually looked up soul's purpose, and this is the definition or explanation I got from Psychology Today. Your soul's purpose is why you're here on earth at this time. When you know your soul's purpose, you're content with your life. When your life theme is right for you, you feel a sense of flow, as if you're headed in the correct direction. Everything feels right.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, this goes in perfect alignment with something that I've been talking about a lot, which is that instead of the thinking and the perspective of my life is such a challenge and therefore I'm unable to fulfill my purpose, we change it to I have an incredible life because I'm aligned with my purpose. So I'll say that again. So instead of saying, well, I have this challenge and therefore I can't have an incredible life, it's I have an incredible life because I'm aligned with my purpose, which is kind of what you just said there. It's what we're supposed to do.
Well, I mean, yes. And that seems like a big, gigantic step in some ways for people, like if I'm sitting here going, oh, how am I going to do this when I can't pay my rent and I can't pay my bills and I don't know how, and what if this doesn't make money and there's already 10,000 people doing that, and to go, oh, I have an incredible life because I'm aligned with my purpose. Like, how do you really get your brain to wrap around that you're more than your circumstances?
Well, it's also, Robin, like what came up for me as you were saying that is, and I made this assumption for so many years that I was supposed, like, my work in the world had to be my purpose in the world. And that's what I loved, what you talked about, Savanna, a few minutes ago, saying, your purpose might be nurturing and parenting, and that might be how you express your purpose in the world. And so for me, it was such an important aha to know that I could decouple purpose, that impulse which kind of moves me in the world, from how I earn a living, so to speak. And so I want to just jump in and share, because we've got some great comments before we get too much further. So Brian said, perhaps purpose is what's inside you. Mission is how it manifests outside of you. I love that, Brian. That's great.
That's good.
TC says, my purpose is to light the path for others. My mission is to take the easy path and lead workshops helping people create their own paths to health. Awesome.
That's awesome.
And TC also said, agree that purpose is the overall vision and mission is how you get there. So and then TC loves Brian's definition. Brian jumps in. Purpose is the what, mission is the how. And Gil gives Brian's definition 2 thumbs up.
Brian is so smart.
I know. And then let's see. Dave says, I was just going to say that maybe purpose and the path to purpose both are feelings, strong feelings that you have to listen carefully for. Absolutely. And I think we'll touch on that in a little bit of how do we know what our purpose is. And then John, I use surrendering my life to God every day to do his will and align with it since I don't know the big picture that Holy Spirit does. Absolutely. Okay, so awesome comments, feedback. Thank you, everyone. So how does one go about kind of the figuring out, which sometimes feels hard, like it's daunting. So how can we make that kind of process fun and inspiring?
I typically ask people to think about what they're good at and what they love to do. You know, I said at the beginning that your passions are your purpose. And so I'll have students like make a list. And what happens is they start getting in this vibe and this like energy of excitement because they're like, yeah, I am really good at this. But then what tends to happen in the ego and the brain goes, oh, but, right? So it's really just getting into that place of, if I could do anything, what would I really ultimately want to do? If X were not a challenge, what would I be doing with my time?
Yeah.
You know, for years, I myself have danced in that whole thing of, well, I've got to make a living. And as you were saying that sometimes they're separate. I've got to make a living, but my dream and my purpose is over here. And how do we merge those? How do we do the thing that we're meant to do? And I think that's a common question for a lot of people is, you know, how do we discover that? And I think it's about, what are my gifts? What am I good at? And if I'm not good at something, what can I cultivate that I might not have even known I was good at?
And I would say, I mean, correct me if you think otherwise, but I would think it's not even about, you don't even have to be good at it. I mean, it's, what are you passionate about? Where are you moved? You know, where are you feeling that passion and that attachment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's energy there. So like we talk all the time about how we have to become, I know these are like really metaphysical terms. We have to become the vibrational match to the thing we desire. And it's like, you might not be great at something, but you have fire and excitement and energy about it. And naturally, because of the way the universe works, you start to bring opportunities, people, you know, money, all of that to you because you are vibrating at a different frequency around it, you know, because you love it so much.
So for folks who might not know what that means when you say vibrating at a certain frequency, how would you say that in another way to kind of explain it to somebody who's not familiar with that?
Sure. It's like emoting. So here's a great example. I know Ellen DeGeneres is famous, but think about her show, I don't even know how many years ago, that she started to implement dancing throughout her show, because that's not always how she started off her talk show, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden she's like, I love to dance. I want to bring dancing into the room. It brings people alive. It brings people together. And I don't know that she's the greatest dancer in the whole world, but it has now caught on and brought other people into the fold that Ellen is now known for her dancing, right? It's a mode. What's the word I want? Emotion. Excitement, you know, joy. I would say, you know, when you feel joy while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's authenticity. She's not trying to do something that somebody else did to make it fun and happening. She's doing something that's authentic to her that makes her feel good. Mm-hmm. You know, the other story that comes to my head is actually a friend that both Savanna and I know, who was a minister and left the church to go follow his passion and play golf. And he knew that he was never going to be a pro golfer, but he went out and he worked and he did whatever he did and got as far as he did, and farther than if he'd just been, hitting golf balls on for fun and games, and he really went out and lived that passion, I mean, so it's following that kind of dream, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, when how do you know if you're following your purpose? Or when you're when you're leading a kind of purpose-oriented life, or when you're trying to, how do you know you've achieved it? Or do you ever achieve it? Is it like a process, or is it like I figure it out and then I'm done with it, and then I know, and then I'm living it, and then how does that work from, your experience with it?
Well, for me, I don't know if there's a final destination.
Yeah.
If there's like an end goal, like an end place, other than I want to leave the world a better place than, when I found it. I want to have some sort of legacy. I think that's also something that gets attributed to purpose. Like, well, what am I going to leave? I hear sometimes people say in their later years, like, what is the legacy I want to leave in terms of, did I fulfill my purpose? And for me, I know when I lose track of time, when things are just in the flow, it's like ease. And it doesn't mean there aren't hurdles, and it doesn't mean there aren't challenges that come along. But what I experience when I just know it's intuition, but it's also things are going really well. And it just seems like, well, that worked, and this is coming, and this is flowing, and it feels good. So I'm a very intuitive person, and I tend to rely on my emotions a lot in terms of, does this feel good? Does this not feel good? Maybe I need to go in this direction, So that's my guide.
And that's a perfect explanation for vibration, right?
Yeah.
Another way of saying exactly the same thing. Let me just jump in, catch up on some comments. So John loves passions are your purpose. And says Grandma Moses the painter. Yeah, that's a great example. Somebody later in life figuring it out. TC says, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Yes. And Yvette, hello, Yvette. She says, I believe we feel peace and joy knowing I'm on the right track. Yeah, I think
I just want to add to that.
Yeah.
Savanna, you said how you know when you're living your purpose. I think a big key is how we know when we're not living our purpose. I mean, I think it's what we learn before we get there is the pain and the distress from not feeling like a sense of belonging, or that we're doing the right thing, or that we can, we're in the right place, or we're not happy, we're not in the flow. So, I mean, talk about a vibrational match. It's if we're not following our passion and living, in that vision of life, we're, stuck somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is this a good place for the clip?
Oh, that's a good idea. There it is.
This is what I want you to know. You have chosen to arrive here on earth, and you have a tremendous gift to give. As a matter of fact, you have gifts, talents, and capacities to be released. And you know what? They're gonna haunt you if you leave this planet one day before you give your gifts, activate them, and express them. And you know what else? You derive so much joy in doing this. Your bliss is the function of the activation of your potential. And so when you live to share your gifts, to uncover them, to excavate them, to activate them, to share, to shine, to sing, to dance, to release them into the world, you get the gift first. because all that energy gets to shine and express through you. Do not leave this planet before you discover, uncover, and activate what you have already brought with you. Understand this, the world, it has nothing for you. You have come bearing gifts to the world, not to take anything from it, so that you can leave a vibrational footprint that you were here, a footprint of ecstasy, a footprint of beauty and of love and of generosity, so that the world is changed because you arrived. I know this for sure. Live it fully.
I love that clip.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love Reverend Michael? I'm just saying. And it's the clip is so wonderful because it just gives so many great reminders of it's not about getting, it's about giving. And I often like to, in my own work with clients, I often talk about if we don't come to share our gifts in our own unique way, we leave a gap in the fabric of time, because there's never going to be anybody who can do the things that we can do in exactly the way that we can do them, who can share our gifts in exactly the way that we can share them with the world. And so that's for me why kind of exploring that, those things that give us joy, finding our purpose without having it be so effortful. And that's one of the reasons I love how you described your process, Savanna, of, what are the things that you love to do and that, bring you joy and inspire you and fill you with passion for life. Because those are the things that nobody can do the way that we do.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
share in the way that we can. And that's, I think, why it's so important. And just Brian shared, it doesn't end, kind of harkening back on what we were talking about a few minutes ago. It's continuous unfolding of your good that blesses others. That's beautiful, Brian. Thank you. So how do you coach folks, Savanna, to through this process? You start with what are the things that you're passionate about, and then how does the process continue to unfold?
Well, I think what happens normally is people get in the flow of like, I'm good at this, and here's my list, and these are the things I love to do. And then all of a sudden the self-sabotage shows up.
Mm-hmm.
The part that says, and I think Robin, you alluded to this earlier, well, I can't make money doing this, like the very practical, or I'm not the expert, I don't have enough experience, or the comparison starts to come in. Well, there's so many people doing this. I know I've had that experience. There's also the how I don't have enough time. I mean, every excuse that you can imagine. And so we spend typically a lot of time working through the unconscious beliefs, the stuff that is keeping us stuck, the stuff that's keeping us in a state of confusion, procrastination. And I had a coach once say to me, it like stopped me right in my tracks, because I kept fighting for my limitations as to why. Like, I'm like, I know my purpose, but, and then I would give a list as to why I wasn't fulfilling it or why it couldn't happen. And he just very calmly said, and I know you have this, he said, confusion is just a lack of commitment. The commitment to your greatness, no matter what. Your confusion is your self-sabotage. And I was like, what? I was so, on one hand, I knew he was right, but I was also kind of mad, just like, wow, okay, I can't use confusion as an excuse anymore. Not to say that we aren't clear. I mean, yes, we're not clear all the time, but it really just, it forced me to go, whoa, what is it that's holding me back? What is that self-sabotage about? Am I really afraid that if I had this thing, I'm worthy of it? Because the root of all of that, I think, is unworthiness. Am I worthy of having the dream life? Am I worthy of having that amazing career or partnership, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. And it kills us like in so many things, right? In terms of how and moving forward. That's what keeps us stuck is am I worthy? Should I have? Why me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Robin, were you gonna say something?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I was. Yeah, but I was on your track. So I was thinking, yeah, am I enough?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's so interesting. I tell you the synchronicities of life and how this happens. When I start to talk about purpose, I just finished a class on purpose, and I'm launching this program here soon, which I'd love to tell you about. But what I notice is when I start talking about this stuff, then people in my field just start showing up to talk about this stuff too. And I literally, within the last 2 weeks, have had two people. Yesterday, I had a phone call with someone, and a few weeks ago, somebody said to me, because I sometimes get in this place of, well, but this person's already doing that. What do I possibly have to say that they didn't say, or this person didn't say? And both of them said to me, in their own unique way, but you are unique. You
Yeah.
have a way of saying that no one else does. And so getting out of that imposter syndrome or that fear of failure is the task.
Yes.
Well, it's also like believing too. I think like it's like when you see a Starbucks pop up and you go, really? There's one on every other corner. Does there really need to be one? Yeah, there does. Somehow it's one's better for somebody to go to, you know what I mean? Or like just even, how many times like if you listen to Reverend Michael or if you listen whoever you listen to, it's like somebody else can say the exact same thing and I don't hear it the same way at all. So it's like we hear it different and people show up differently, for us, and we're at different places when we hear it as well.
Absolutely.
And truthfully, I think that speaks to vibration. I mean, it's probably like if I hear you and I'm your people, I'm in your class, I'm resonating with your vibration. So on some level I show up and I immediately am in that zone and I'm in tune, or with Reverend Michael or with whomever, and I may go in to see someone else speak or talk that's not for me, like somewhere it's just a different match.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to ask was, so if someone comes into your program, so say I come into your program and I am in that place of like, I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I think I might want to do this, but I don't know. And I'm kind of stuck in my story. Do you do work to get them from that place? Or are you starting with a group of people that are past that, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's both and, because I think that even for those who may be clear on what their purpose is, there's still pain points. There's still challenges of, well, how do I get to the next level, right? No matter where you start, you're always wanting to get to the next level. And whatever it is that your idea, project, purpose is. And so what I do with people in this program is we go through a process of looking at what are your limiting beliefs. So I have the formula that I've been using, and it's really helpful. It is your belief, which is your unconscious perhaps belief, a limiting belief, the thing that's holding you back, plus the universal law, which is a loaded term, equals evidence. So basically the idea is that when we go through life, we all have what's known as a block or a limiting belief. Like, for example, it might be, I'm not supported. Nobody supports me in my life. And what we tend to do as humans is we tend to find evidence to prove that that's true. We go everywhere saying, well, see, I told you, right? And the universe is always saying, yes, 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 to your every desire. And so when we start to look at that and go, oh, maybe my beliefs need to shift a little bit, I need to reframe that, you start to look for evidence for the thing that you actually want. So when I work with people in this program, we're looking at what are your gifts? What is your what do you feel your purpose is? We go through that process and then getting them to, well, what are the blocks that are stopping you from actually doing X, Y, and Z? Once we get to that place, then we can launch into, the next steps, like the strategy, the mind mapping. I'm a huge fan of mind mapping, so that we can go, oh, well, this is where you want to go. Let's get you to the next step, and then the next step.
That's so great, Savanna, because sometimes getting from A to Z feels so overwhelming that I love the breaking it down, right? So because you don't have to get from A to Z in one fell swoop, you can just go from A to B and then B to C,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
you know, break it into tiny little pieces that feels much more manageable than trying to make that giant leap all at once. Then it's like, oh my God, how do I make that happen?
Yeah, and it's so good because you're supported by a group of people and myself to actually hold you accountable to that. I know that, people who've influenced my life and people I've worked with, that's really one of the greatest gifts that they've given me is I don't have to see the whole big thing. I know it exists and I know the direction I want to go, but just having a coach or somebody to hold space for me and go, what if you did this and this? That's attainable. That's attainable. And so then having a group of people to hold you accountable and really hold you in support, it's just a powerful thing. I call those people, some people say soul tribe or God squad, whatever you want to call it. But those are the people who can hold the vision for you.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Got some additional great comments. So John says he loves the story of Goldie Hawn. A major Broadway director told her she was not interesting. How could somebody say that? And should quit when she auditioned. She chose not to listen to him and kept going to success and an Oscar. Exactly. And so that's such an important point, John, because we are always making the choice of who we're listening to, even if it's the gremlins in our own head. Right? The gremlins in our own heads, the directors, the bosses, the parents, the whomever might be a naysayer saying, you can't live your purpose because it's hard or you don't have enough talent or, fill in the blanks. And it's so important to pay attention to what are those voices that we're listening to and that we're agreeing with and giving power to. And I love that example because she clearly chose not to listen to that voice. Yvette loves the confusion is my self-sabotage when I make the choice to remain stuck rather than asking for guidance. Exactly. And Brian, I love this. I was thinking the exact same thing. 8 billion people in the world, one person can't serve them all. Exactly.
Good.
So do you want to talk about your upcoming program?
Yeah, I'd love to. But Robin, were you about to say something?
I was just going to say, in regards to your program, I was just going to say, I also love that. I love mind mapping too, and I love that you take them to the larger place and then back to the baby steps, because sometimes we can't even really get to the larger place. It's just this illusion that flickers in and out of our heads. Kind of, we don't even really know what it is. And, so I think that's really important because you can't really hold the vision if you're not really clear on what the whole vision is.
Mm.
And so I think it's really important to get there. I think I talked about this once on the show, but I remember having a class where it was a class to, achieve your goals type class. And they said, it was primarily actors in there. And they said, if you think that you're going to do all these things when you become famous, like, donate your time to charities and work with the homeless and blah, blah, blah. They were like, that's not true. If you become more busy, so you've got to incorporate it along the way if it's really important to you. You know what I mean? And it's like mind mapping and having those baby steps really gives you that thing to have it down and on your list as a gameplay,
Yeah, well, and it keeps you engaged. It keeps you motivated, because that's the other piece is sometimes we just get unmotivated to do the next step. This program, the reason I'm so excited about it is because I get to see the ahas that happen with students and to actually get into the weeds, which is my favorite part. So it's a 12-week program. So for the next 90 days, I'm going to walk students through 2 live group coaching calls with me. And you will get weekly guided meditations to help ground, center, to just support. Spiritual practice is such a huge part of what we do, and just holding that vision. And then everyone will have an accountability partner, which is that piece that I just talked about in terms of really being supported by someone, being able to share what your project idea purpose is. And then I am going to offer a one-on-one bonus session with each student so that we can really dig in. So we can create an actual strategy. The mind mapping piece is going to be in there, having a list of, okay, where are we? Where do you want to go? And what are the steps to get you there? So that's going to be the one-on-one work that we do together. And it's just going to be really juicy and awesome. And I think we have a flyer for it.
Ooh, right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, do you want to walk people through it?
Yeah. So as I said, there's the 12 weeks with me. You get a personalized strategy, spiritual practices, and practices to support your idea or project, a mind map to help you implement your next steps towards that. The live group calls will be with me. That starts, it's literally around the corner. So the first orientation call is this coming Tuesday. And then every call after that is going to be on Wednesdays. I'm gonna probably gauge the group to see what people really love about the timing and dates and stuff like that, because I want it to work for people. The other piece of this is we're gonna have the accountability partner, which I said, for support and follow-up, the guided meditations to keep you grounded. I'm gonna also throw in one of my favorite very own playlists of inspirational and meditative and empowering music. And these sessions will be recorded. And then as just kind of a little bonus, the next class I'm about to teach is around boundaries. And so I'm going to give people a boundary checklist just to see, do we have healthy ones? And then, of course, a one-on-one session with myself. And this is exciting. And for anybody who is interested and signs up between now and the 18th, who's watching this, I'm going to throw in the actual questionnaire of your passions or your purpose questionnaire. What is that, to get you started? So yeah, that is the plan.
That is awesome. And where do people sign up? Is that the bit.ly link that I put in the description below?
Yes. So there's a few places they can sign up. So depending on your thing, if you're a social media person, you can go to my Instagram account. And there's a link
that is in the description below, so you should be able to find all that information.
So that's you go to the link in my bio on my Instagram page. You can also go to the bit.ly link. It's Deep Dive Purpose is the bit.ly link. That is also on my Facebook page. So if you want to add me as a friend on Facebook, you will get that link there. The other part of this I didn't say is, because there's a community aspect of this, not only do you get the live calls and the live coaching, but you get a special private Facebook group so that we can keep track of everybody and talk and share and support each other.
Nice. So it's building a community around purpose. I love it. I love it. And is there more information on your website if people want to?
If they have any questions about it, they can contact me on my website. It's savannanoelle.com.
Yep.
/contact, or just go right there to that site and contact, and you can send me a message.
Yes, and there is a link to the contact page in the description below this video. So that's fantastic. And you said register by the 18th and you get that special bonus?
Yes, you do. Register by the 18th. Yeah, which is this coming Tuesday. I'm excited.
It feels like it's such a perfect time for folks who are, as we come out of lockdowns and a year of where it's felt like we've been on pause or in semi-hibernation. And I know a number of folks that I work with have just been rethinking priorities and what's important and what do they really want to do, and do they want to go back to doing the same thing they were doing 12, 14 months ago, and so it feels like it's the perfect time if those questions and thoughts are kind of flowing through your head. It sounds like it's the perfect time for a program like this.
Totally. Yeah. I tend to go, I lead with my intuition, but I tend to go where people are most in need. And I hear it from students all the time. They're like, can we have more? Can we go a little deeper? Can you work one-on-one with me? Can we look at this? Because again, like it can be so overwhelming when you have all this in front of you and you're like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't know where to begin. So let me support you in helping you begin. Just that baby step.
Yes.
That's a great point, because
You don't have to
especially
get to Z.
Yeah.
but especially on this spiritual journey, depending upon when you're joining or what you're looking for or looking at. I mean, sometimes I think like when people come in new or haven't been around it a lot, or are searching and they come in, it's almost like walking into a candy store. Like, oh, my purpose, my mission, unconditional love, oh, joy, peace. We throw these things out, and it's like, yes, how do I get them? How do I want them? And everything, it becomes, overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I think it's great to focus in. And I what you were both saying, I feel like it is the perfect time. I feel like it's almost like we're like chameleons or whatever, reptiles. Like we've shed our skins over the last year, and now we get to go forward and create something new in a new way, and just let go of old stuff. So that's very exciting.
Yes. So did we miss anything? Is there anything like what's the one thing that you would share for somebody who's wanting to go do a deeper dive in purpose?
What's the one thing they can do today?
Yeah.
Make the decision to be willing to commit to this, to commit to themselves.
That's a whole nother show. Commitment.
Yeah, commitment. Yeah. It's like I said, your confusion is just your lack of commitment.
Yeah.
And that could be like a commitment to, I'm going to wake up in the morning and start a journaling practice or a gratitude practice, or I'm going to commit to writing a list of what I'm really good at,
Yeah.
And I would even go further to add what one of my mentors said last night and has said before. And if you can't make the commitment right now, can you be willing to be willing?
Yes.
And even if you need to be willing to be willing to be willing, at however far back you need to go to work up to that place where you can go, okay, yes, I'm committed. Because the willingness, as you said, that is a whole nother show.
Yes. And the other thing, I love what you talked about, Savanna, is that where when you talked about looking for evidence, right? We always look for evidence of the why not, and can you start to look for the evidence of why it makes sense, or the feedback that you're getting on the things that you're passionate about, or just even if it's just baby steps to start thinking about creating that list, and then exploring the ways that the universe is already supporting you in those things that you're passionate about and that you love.
Yeah.
And I would just say, from what you say, sorry, I'm a workshop geek, so I'm like, my head is spinning with activities that could be done. But I would even say, like, that would be a great journal entry or a writing thing, is like, why I'm the one. Why am I the one?
Why am I the one? Yeah.
Yeah,
well, and also I think we tend to spend so much time in the world, as you said, of why something isn't possible, that we forget to actually look around and see the evidence for what actually is working. Like people will remind me or say, you do realize that you have this, this, and this. You should really be grateful that this happened. Like, this is really amazing. This is really incredible. But how often are we taking time to look at the evidence for the good that is showing up? Evidence that we are on the right track.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
that's a great reminder.
What, Samaya, you broke up.
Oh, I said that's a great reminder.
Yeah. I think that's a great reminder. I think it's so true. I think we all do it. I mean, I know I won't speak for myself. I'll speak for my husband. I know that like there's so many times when he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't get anything done today." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You've cleaned the garage, you've done taxes, you've changed tires on the car, and he's like, "Yeah, but there's more." Yeah, but you know, we don't see what we have done because we're so busy looking out there at what's not done.
Mm,
I mean, it's such a great learning.
yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Savanna. Yvette said, thank you, ladies. This was awesome. Savannah, you are a beautiful being of light. Thank you
Thanks,
again.
Yvette.
Thanks, Yvette.
And Bill says, excuse me. So as a reminder, if you are interested in learning more about Savannah's upcoming program, you can check out the links below in the description or reach out to her if you have questions on her website, which is also below. And, you know, take the baby steps. You don't have to figure it all out today. You don't even have to figure it all out tomorrow. And start exploring. Start having a look at the things you are passionate about that you love to do and how the universe is already supporting you in those things that you love. And with that, did I miss anything?
Yes, I just want to say too my takeaway is to also not to think that you only have one purpose, to really let that idea go and know that your purpose means you're following and living a life that you love, you know, and that your purpose shows up that way. And I think, you know, not to limit it.
Yes. Well, and I would say this would be the perfect summation, which is a quote by Howard Thurman, who said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive."
I love Howard Thurman.
Amen.
So thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone who's joined us. If you know someone who is exploring their purpose or who would benefit from this show, please, please, please share this on either YouTube or Facebook and let them know. And we will see you back here next week.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Lots
Thanks,
of love.
Savannah.
Thank you, Savannah.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Bye.